Hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors, and thank you so much for joining us this week, and Merry Christmas if you're watching us on Christmas Day. We're pretty excited about this week's show, and we're going to take a look back at some of our favorite stories of the year.
We sure are, Jimmy. Now, Jimmy, Jordan, and I all have to pick every year when we do this, and it's really tough. There are so many fun, exciting, memorable stories that happen for us throughout the year, but we all thought really hard and picked our favorite stories, and they were all very unique and things that you don't get to see every day or every year here on Michigan Out of Doors. So you'll want to make sure you stay tuned to revisit those with us. We've got a great show for you this week, so stay tuned. I'm Jenny Olson.
And I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 8th through 11th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and seminars on all Michigan game fish. The Ultimate Fishing Show, Novi, January 8th through 11th. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
Well, when it comes to picking your favorite story here at Michigan Out of Doors, looking back over the year, well, as you can imagine, not very easy to do. But one of the things for me that makes a story pretty special is how unique the setting or the location is. And in this next story, when someone approached me about doing a fishing story in the Upper Peninsula, casting for muskies out of a canoe, well, it doesn't get much more unique than that. I spend a lot of time on the road, but it is all worth it, especially when you're heading north for a few days in the Upper Peninsula. So many great corners to explore. Tom, what's our plan of attack here? What are we doing here tonight?
We're gonna get some fish.
Yeah?
We'll do what it takes. We don't usually go to regular places and use regular stuff, so hopefully we don't get regular results. That's the plan.
We're chasing musky tonight?
Musky. Yeah. We might get a walleye or two. If we get a walleye, it should be a good one.
Okay. This was no normal fishing trip. We were going to be on the Tequamanon River, which is about 90 miles long. We were also going to be fishing with 4 of us in a canoe. Now, getting the canoe to the water, well, also a big deal. Tom and his boy Trent, along with their good friend Eric Solon, were going to be hiking this boat in quite a ways to get to the water. So here we are. We are, I don't know if portage is the right word, but we just brought in canoe, trolling motor, batteries, all the fishing gear we need for musky fishing on the Tequamanon River. And I don't know, this is maybe 100 feet, 150 feet that we're having to take all the stuff down. Now they're bringing the boat down, and I hope the fishing is worth it. But I tell you what, I bet we will be the only boat on the water. This is the only way to get a boat into this area, so it should be fun. This was a steep bank, and it was hard enough to go down. I really was interested to see how the up the bank trip was going to work. But these guys are hardcore extreme fishermen, to say the least, and they didn't waste any time in getting some big body baits flying as they searched for the elusive UP muskie. So after an hour or so of casting, it looked like we might just have some success.
You hooked another one, eh?
Yeah. You saw, look at them all around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. More.
I have to say, fighting a muskie from a canoe in a pristine UP river, well, that's about as cool as it gets. Tom has this down to a science and lets the fish get tired before they even think about unhooking them. He says that netting the fish only seems to hurt the fish and, honestly, the fishermen as well in these tight corners. So after the fish is good and tired, they go ahead and unhook the fish, take some pictures, and get it right back in the water. As it turned out, the fish were starting to get a little active, and we had number 2 on the line.
Look at the smile. How big is it? You just took the size of the fish by the size of the smile.
Well, we didn't get the hook set on that one, but that thing was...
It's coming up right
It tore it.
That's a starfish.
Oh, my.
Get that close. He's gonna do some crazy stuff. That ain't close.
It jumped right out of the water.
Nice hit.
Jerk, jerk.
Told you. Jerk, jerk. Ooh. Reward. You got it hooked good.
All right, is our unhooker ready back there?
No, not yet. No, he's still too green. That fish is green.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. We give him enough time to play out. We don't use a net or anything, so it takes a second.
Just let them tire out.
Yeah. Give them a couple little taps on the head, and they'll let you know when they're ready to be handled. They can't wiggle anymore.
Trent, what do you like about this kind of fishing?
It's in your face, man. That's what jumped out of the water after it.
It's pretty cool catching these big fish in this kind of a small river.
Oh, yeah. Big lure. We just lost a big one a minute ago. Come up and bit it and didn't get it.
We had the hook right in his
lips,
nose,
but
right in the very
pulled out.
Pulled out.
It's probably 8 inches bigger than this one.
This was a dandy fish and had just hammered the bait right near the boat. Trent is a very good fisherman for just a teenager, and it shows. He has had some good training.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations, young man.
Thank you.
That is
It took a while, but we finally got another one.
What a beautiful fish.
Yeah.
Eric and Trent swapped back and forth throughout the day for the front of the boat, and it was Eric who had the coolest bite I think I'd ever seen, topwater muskie.
Eric, all right, buddy. Topwater on camera. Yeah.
Way to go!
You've been working for that fish.
Took me all day.
The boat.
Watch that line up there.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me now.
Yeah, don't point him at the boat, Eric. Don't point, lead him away, because he'll jump right in.
Try to unspin him.
Just put his head away from the boat.
I just had to show you this one more time. This fish just destroyed this bait, coming out of the water to get it. It was an awesome evening.
Well, how many casts did that take today for you?
Yeah, that's a fish.
Felt like about 3 million.
What, they say 10,000 casts? I think you were pretty close.
Yeah. Good old plopper.
Your dad would be proud.
Well, I know Eric's dad was proud, as were all of us in the canoe. It was a very unique kind of fishing, and to have a few fish taker offerings, well, it was a trip I won't soon forget. One of the reasons, though, is that it was just so hard to do. This part of the river has no real access points. You can't really wade it. You can't really cast from shore very effectively. Dragging a boat in here is just insane, but yet these guys do it, and they were rewarded. It was getting close to dark as the long task of getting the gear up the hill began, and it was close to midnight by the time we got back to camp.
There are a couple of reasons that I chose this next story as my favorite for the year. One of them is because we were out in the dark on the St. Clair River fishing for sturgeon, and that always holds a lot of excitement and anticipation, hooking into one of those big prehistoric fish. Another reason that this was an extra special story for me was because we were honoring the memory of a dear friend. Tom, you've been out doing a lot of sturgeon fishing already this year, hey?
We've been out several times. We were doing reasonably well early on, then it kind of slowed down. Now it's picking up again. Friday night we got one, bad weather. Night before that we got three. Got a 68-incher recently, about 100 pounds. Fun stuff. Everybody had a great time. We should do well tonight.
All right, awesome. Got the honey hole all picked out?
Yes, we do, as a matter of fact. Only it's not much of a secret. People see us there all the time, so. But we'll be upriver by near Harson's Island.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool. What's the depth you're looking for?
35, 36, 37 works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been one of my better spots, so. In the again, 36, 37 range.
As we got situated out here, Matt explained how this whole trip today came to be, and how being out here is all a little bittersweet in the absence of a dear friend.
Well, we're out here, good friend of ours, Jerry, he's coming out he's taking a place, unfortunately, a good friend of ours that bid. We had a fundraiser this past year, and his wife bid on this trip, and it was for her husband, who was Jerry's brother, and unfortunately, he didn't make it. He passed away 2 weeks ago on us, so we brought Jerry out instead, in Cork's honor.
We were hoping to do Cork proud out here tonight and boat some sturgeon. Tom and Caleb were getting all the lines rigged up.
I've got a this is a 10-ounce weight. We're going to throw it out here quite a few feet. It's on a slip sinker. Okay. We'll put a gob of minnows, probably 4 or 5 minnows on the hook. Then we'll throw it out there and let it set. Then we'll catch, hopefully, sturgeon. But we catch catfish and sheephead and the occasional smallmouth.
Well, it wasn't even dark yet, and Tom's bait did the trick. We had a hit, and Jerry was up first to do the honors of bringing it in. What do we got, Jim?
We got some sort of small fish on. First fish of the night, though. Now, did that come on the rod with the worm?
A mini sturgeon.
What?
All right. All right.
What? It's the world's smallest sturgeon.
Okay. We're just going to do it. We're going to do it easy here.
Wow.
Here we go.
My first sturgeon.
These are
unbelievable.
Jimmy can tell us better, but the scoots are razor sharp.
Oh, wow.
Along the side.
Pretty. That is
And they
so
lose
cool.
those when they get older?
They dull down. Jimmy, you can tell us better than me.
That's so cool.
The scoots. These are called scoots.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy, explain. Go ahead.
Well, those are, on the smaller fish, they're very pronounced. It's actually a defense mechanism, and that makes these fish very unappetizing for anything bigger until they grow to such a size that nothing else in the system can eat them.
How old do you think this one is?
That fish is less than 10 years old.
Wow.
27.
27?
Yep.
Wow. Huh. That is really cool.
Here we go.
He's gone.
Nice job.
First one.
Start out small, right?
Yeah.
On a minnow, no less.
Ross, what do you think of all that?
Very cool. I've never seen a fish like that before, so it's very interesting.
Cool.
Nice to see the smaller fish. We got a good breeding population here. The largest self-sustaining population of sturgeon in the Great Lakes. And that fish, interestingly enough, might live to be another 80 years, which means somebody's grandson or granddaughter can catch that same fish. When it's going to be close to 100 pounds, that fish will grow to be huge over the years.
That's pretty cool to think of it that way.
Oh, it's great. We love it.
As the sun faded on a beautiful evening, the guys made a toast to our lost friend and fishing buddy with a sip of his favorite beverage.
Clark, this is for you. Love you, man.
Here's to you, man.
Gonna miss you.
Jerry, tell me a little bit about your brother. You guys were hunting buddies lifelong, right?
Lifelong, but when he was working all those years and 60, 70, 80 hours a week, we didn't get to do much. And after he stopped working, we made up for lost time. We done a lot of hunting and fishing and done some great walleye fishing. I was with him and called in his first 2 tom turkeys for him. I was with him when he got his first white-tailed deer and his second white-tailed deer and his third white-tailed deer. It's just sad that he had to go so early in life, but we did have some good years together. We made some good memories.
Matt also spent a lot of time in the outdoors with Uncle Cork, and he was up for our next fish of the night. This one looked like it was a little bigger.
Yeah, look at that rod tip.
Be close?
He was for a second.
Oh boy.
Saw him jump out there. We got a skilled fisherman on the rod, so we're gonna get this one in. We're optimistic. Always optimistic.
Oh. All right, let him run.
Tom, got any tips for Matt while he's bringing in his first sturgeon?
Yeah, Matt's a big guy. He knows how to do this.
What do you mean? They still do that.
Oh, here comes the big. Woohoo!
Nice.
Look at that.
Yeah!
Woo! Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Nice job, guys.
Yep.
Nice job.
Right, 2.5.
Cool.
All right. This is Cork's fish.
Yeah.
Beauty. All right, who's putting them back in?
Everybody gonna measure them?
Pitch Boom.
Good job.
This sturgeon would end up being our last of the evening before we had to call it quits. All in all, we had a great time out here. We were able to get a couple of fish for some sturgeon first-timers tonight and remember our dear friend by doing what he loved to do, spend time in the outdoors with friends, family, and a lot of laughs. Special thanks to Captain Tom Loy for volunteering his time and resources to make this special night happen here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and for my favorite story of 2014, I was north of the bridge, where I was able to cross off a bucket list item for me, fishing at Stannard Rock.
Made the 45-mile run from Marquette, and gonna get set up here. We're about 4 miles up north of the light. We're gonna set up here in about 80 to 100 feet of water and drop some jigs. Hope the fish are biting good today.
The water was calm, there were fish on the graph, and the sunrise was truly breathtaking. As we prepared to start fishing, you could see the anticipation of what the day might bring beginning to build, and it didn't take long at all for the action to start on this true fishing gem that has a lot more to it than the name indicates.
Stannard Rock, a lot of people think it's just kind of a one rock or one real small area, but in reality it's actually a reef. It's actually an underwater mountain is what it is. It's about 1 mile to 1.5 miles wide by about 5 miles long north to south. So it's quite a big area. Most of the Stannard Rock Reef is surrounded by between 500 to 700 feet of water. The average depth up on top of the reef is usually right around 200 to 250 feet of water. And then on top of that, you have a lot of structure and a lot of different pinnacles that come up, very, very sharp drop-offs and steep points that the fish will hang on. And typically those can come up anywhere all the way to 30 to 40 feet below the surface of the water. So you can be fishing in 30 feet of water and be less than 1/2 mile from 600 feet of water. That's part of what makes it so great out there is those fish can live in that big, deep expanse that's out near the reef, and then they move up onto the reef to feed onto the bait fish and everything that's up there. The reef itself is made up of nothing but crevices and points, and it's a perfect place for bait fish to hide. Which in turn also draws in the predator fish. It's a perfect spot for them to feed. They can move into the shallow water, they can feed on the bugs and the bait fish, and then within 1/4 mile they can drop back down, get into that 500, 600 feet of water, into that nice cold water. So it's a really special place. There's nothing else like it. There's nowhere else like it in Lake Superior where you can find fish so concentrated on certain pieces of structure. It's definitely a special place. It's been a pretty good day. We've had some really good numbers. The fish were really active earlier on. They slow down typically towards the middle of the day, which is kind of normal. They're going to slow down a little bit. But I think we've had a really good day as far as numbers go. We're still looking for that one big giant that we know's out here. We've seen quite a few of them swimming up below the boat. Just getting one of them to bite's the trick today.
Bent right over.
That's not a bad fish there, Brad.
Nope. That's a nice fish.
Nice fish.
Even though this wasn't the giant fish we were looking for, it was still a very nice fish, weighing around 15 pounds. Any fish of this caliber is a trophy, especially when you catch it 50 miles offshore with spinning tackle. After a few quick pictures, it was time to get this fish back in the water.
It's a very special place out there as far as the fish go. I take great pride in trying to protect that place as much as I can. On my boat, we try and release pretty much any fish that's going to be over about 15 pounds. We get a few good pictures. We get those fish back in the water as quick as we can. I think it's very important to keep as many of those fish out there as we can to keep the population out there. There's many areas on the reef that have good sized populations of smaller fish, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pound fish. Those are the great fish for eating. Those are the great fish for table fare. Those 15, 20 pound and up fish are great for pictures, and those are your spawning fish. And like I said, I think it's very, very important to get as many of those fish back in the water healthy as you can.
It's been great. We're still waiting for that big one. Any second, I think you have that opportunity when you're fishing out here. Catching lots of fish, good numbers, stacked in this area that we're fishing right now. It's fun. It's fun seeing everybody catching them. Hope it continues. I think it will.
Stannard Rock Light was actually built in the late 1800s, and then it was actually manned for about 60 years through the end of 1950 when they finally automated it. But it's considered the loneliest place in the Great Lakes, is what they call it. It's the furthest lighthouse from shore in the continental United States. And they used to operate, everything out there was done by steamships. So all the supplies and everything were brought out there by steamships. And there was guys that actually spent 6 to 8 week shifts out there on Stannard Rock operating the light. Everything was operated in kerosene back then. So all the kerosene was stored down in the bottom of the lighthouse. And there was usually a 3 to 4 man crew that spent up to 6 weeks on the light at a time before they were relieved. Late in the 1950s, there was a big explosion down in the basement of the lighthouse, which was the final straw. And after that, they decided to fully automate the lighthouse so they didn't have to man it anymore.
The Stannard Rock Lighthouse is a piece of Michigan history, and it also happens to mark what is likely the best spot in the state to catch trophy lake trout. John has been fishing Stannard Rock for nearly 2 decades, and although he does a variety of other trips around the area, there's no doubt that fishing the rock is the main draw for a visiting angler.
I've been going out to the rock now for nearly 20 years. I've been fishing it really consistently now for about the last 15 years. I started actually running charter boats just right out of college for another guy after I got my captain's license, and I ran a number of boats out there for about 8 years, averaging usually about 15 to 20 trips a year. And I did that up and through about 5 years ago when we ended up starting daybreak charters. And for the last 5 years now, we've averaged between 25 and 35 runs a year out to Stannard Rock. So it's definitely a place. It's the big draw. It's a place that people come from all over the country. We get people from Florida and California and all different corners of the country to fish out at Stannard Rock.
We ended the day having landed over 75 Lakers, and although we were never able to land one of the giants that Stannard Rock is known for, it was still an exceptional day on the water. Special thanks to John and the rest of the crew for having me on board today and helping me cross off something that should be on every Michigander's bucket list.
Thanks for joining us this week for our special Christmas edition of Michigan Out of Doors Television. Make sure you stick around next week. We've got our popular Year in Review, where we'll take a look at all 12 months of 2014, give you an abbreviated version. So if you missed any shows this year, you might catch it all next week in a half hour.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to look back at a whole year of the outdoors here in the state of Michigan, just a minute or two per month, and you really start to see just how much variety we have here in the state of Michigan. We are very blessed to live here in the great state of Michigan as a sportsman, and we just want to thank all of you for watching us this year, and Merry Christmas to all of you again from all of us here at Michigan Out of Doors Television. Don't forget the real reason for the season. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Jay's Sporting Goods with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's, serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's, on the web at jayssportinggoods.com. By Chappelle, providing sleds, shelters, and accessories for your time on the ice. Chappelle offers a line of pop-ups, flipovers, and the Bay Runner, a mobile cabin with a shelf for electronics and a sliding seat. On the web at chappelle.com. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man.